Hi, I'm DIYte, and today I'm going to show you how to construct an architrave around your door with some very basic tools, a combination square and saw. Now, most architraves on the market tend to be this fairly standard, typical ogee design, and depending on the style you're going for and the amount of money you want to spend, the depth typically ranges between 15mm, as you see here, and 22mm. But as I'm gradually doing up each room in my house, I'm sticking with the slightly boring, plain, rounded over design because I'm trying to match the existing architraves elsewhere in the house. So in today's job, I'm using a bespoke architrave that I've made myself. I take a piece of 5x1 pine, rounding over the edge with a router. I'll be showing you how I did that on one of my next videos. The finished depth of the architrave is about 20mm. And the significance of the depth of the architrave is that you want to, as close as possible, match up your architrave with the depth of your skirting board. And in my case, as I'm creating my own skirting boards out of sheets of 7x1, which has a finished depth of about 20mm, that's why I've gone for the same depth in my architrave. So the first thing I've done is taken a combination square. This is actually a smaller one, quite handy for little spaces. And I've drawn the line all the way down around the door frame, showing me where I want my architrave to end up framing the door. And that's important because now, when I offer up my piece of architraving, I can mark the exact position where the architrave goes into a 45-degree angle. And what I can do now is take my combination square and mark the angle that I need to cut on the piece of architraving. I've actually just redrawn that line because I didn't quite get it in the right place, because if that is the line that I marked on the side that you just saw, this diagonal line has to exactly intersect that line at the bottom. So I've just redrawn that line and I've gone a little bit further up. Now, I haven't got a chop saw available. Also, I'm trying to show you in my videos how DIY can be accessible to people who don't have some of the more incredible tools that you tend to see on YouTube channels like chop saws and table saws and that sort of thing. So I've got my saw now and I'm literally going to very gently saw to the line. Now, a little bit of a skill here. First, I particularly like this saw. It's an Irwin floorboard saw. I'll include details of it and where you can get it in the description at the end of this video. But I like this saw. It's got very fine teeth, which is very good for jobs like this because they don't make a mess of the wood and you can be quite precise. But the other point I wanted to make is when you're sawing something like this, try, if anything, to angle your saw slightly into the bevel rather than away from it. That way, when you put your other piece of wood up against it, you'll get a nice clean joint. There we go. I've got a piece of 80 grit sandpaper on a block of wood, and I'm just going to very gently sand that joint just to tidy it up a bit. We can see what we've got there. So that cut now goes exactly down to that line I just made. Right, before pinning that into place, I'm going to work on the horizontal section now. This is my horizontal piece. I need that to adopt the slope of the ceiling. So what I'm going to do is hold it in place along the line I made on the door frame earlier. Now I only want to take a little piece off this because it's just enough to let it in to enable me to get the mitre edge correct. So I'm going to use my adjustable square there to scribe the angle of the ceiling onto the bit of wood, and I'm going to just cut that little angle off now. I'm just taking a tiny little bit more off, and now I'm where I need to be because I can mark off the line I drew on the door frame there, and as before I'm going to continue that line up so I can see it, and then I'm going to take my adjustable square again, take it across, and that is the line we've got to cut. There we go, and you can see, again, we've cut right down to the line that we wanted to, so that's looking pretty good. So, let's back up to the door frame again. We've got an angle where we want it in the corner now, and I'm just coming across to the other side, and I'm just drawing a line here, because that is where we want to take the angle off that way. So, as I did before, I'm extending my line along, and then this is the angle that I've got to draw, so I'm standing right above so I can try and get it in exactly the right place. That looks about spot on to me. I'm going to saw that off. Again, I've just sawn, as you can see there, on the other side of the line, just to leave myself a little bit of wriggle room in case I need to make adjustments. Okay, time to offer up the two pieces to each other. I'm pretty happy with that. So, we've got one final piece of the jigsaw to do, namely this corner here. I've got a scribe piece of wood to go down that edge. I've actually made this architrave out of a scrap of timber that I had lying about, so I had to add an extra piece on the top, which you will not see when it's painted. So the first thing I can do is get the height right. So I'm going to, again, using that line there, I'm going to transpose that onto the front of the piece of architrave, and then I know that we're then going to angle that up and away like that. None of you are going to have tricky angles to cope with like this, but I'm going to be posting a separate video shortly on how you scribe a piece of architrave into a wall like this. So I'm not going to concentrate it on it in this video, because this video is all about the actual architraving itself. So we're going to go fast forward on this now. So now all the pieces cut out, so there we are. The scribed piece of architrave has now been cut out and is resting in place, waiting to be pinned. So now it's just a question of pinning the three parts of the architrave together. Now I don't generally use a grab adhesive like grip fill or wood glue when I'm fixing the architraves to the wall, because I think by the time I've driven home the panel pins and painted and corked the architrave into place, I just don't think the additional measure of using glue is necessary. I'm using 1.6 by 40mm panel pins and a nail punch to bury the nails just below the surface of the wood so that they can be filled. So that's it, the job's now finished. For information on how you use a two-part wood filler to fill the holes left by the panel pins and any other sort of remedial repair work, as I had to do here on the door lining, check out the link that's coming up here now to a video I posted a while back. I spent quite a lot of time sanding, filling, priming and top coating with a coat of eggshell the door lining to get it to the state it's in now. And I've got to say I'm pretty pleased with the result. The only thing I would say to you, and it's something I've been thinking since I installed the last one of these architraves, being a 20mm deep architrave, even though it's got a rounded over edge, it does present a little bit of an obstacle for the door as it's opening. It's no coincidence that the standard ogee style that I showed you at the start of this video has that chamfered off edge which sits closest to the actual door itself. Not to say that the door doesn't open pretty wide, The depth of the architrave gives it a real feeling of quality that you don't get with the sort of thinner, more insubstantial architraves. But I suppose the point I'm just making is that the next time I install one of these, I'm going to step it back a little bit further from the edge of the door. Rather than 5mm, I might go back closer to sort of 10mm because that will help the door to open a little bit wider. Clearly not an issue for most of you because you're probably going with the standard ogee design. I'm currently mulling over whether to do a video showing how I reset the hinges and rehung this door, including how I install these new brass door handles and the new latch. If you would find that video useful, do let me know in the comment section below. As ever, if you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button below, and if you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. You can do that by clicking on the link here.